The world almost ended in 2020, or it seemed like it was ending, while Bitcoin crashed and then recovered and rallied to all-time highs, to levels we've never seen before. And now here in 2021, Bitcoin continues to make a massive move. A lot of people want to know, how much Bitcoin should you own? And well, is it worth it to own less than one Bitcoin? We're going to talk about it right here in this video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. What's going on, guys? Patrick here, and we are live at the Bitcoin headquarters of the world. Well, actually, we're just in my living room, and we're going to talk a lot about Bitcoin and the idea of how much you should own, how much should you be investing, and the overall plan for 2021 as a Bitcoin investor. First off, if you're new to the channel and you're just now watching for the first time, where were you back in March when I was talking about buying Bitcoin under $5,000? My favorite thing about Bitcoin investors, or Bitcoin people, watchers, or whatever you want to call them, investors in general, they love to buy Bitcoin when it's going straight up, but they don't like to buy Bitcoin when it's crashing down. And that just seems like a very weird investment plan. Buying high, selling low. A lot of people ended up buying Bitcoin in 2017 when it rallied to $20,000, and then they ended up selling as it crashed back down when I was buying. And now the price of Bitcoin is $39,600. Buy the dip, sell the rip. So let's answer some common Bitcoin questions and talk more about how much you should own and really why you're here in the first place. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, the like button, and leave a comment down below. Do you think Bitcoin is going to reach $100,000 in 2020, or do you think it's going to start to crash back down from here? I'm interested to know what you think in the comments below. All right, so let's dive into some of these common questions for people out there who are wondering how much Bitcoin they should own in 2021, and can they actually buy more or less than one whole Bitcoin? All right, so you can see behind me right now the price of Bitcoin being $39,600. Back there in March of 2020, the price was $5,300. So we've had a massive move in Bitcoin, pushing above those 2017 highs at the $20,000 area and really rallying almost 100%, or I'd say over 100% from the $20,000 high to the $42,000 high. Now, one really big misconception that a lot of Bitcoin investors or first-time Bitcoin investors have is that you need to buy one full Bitcoin. And as you can see here, if we type this in, one Bitcoin is worth $39,600. Type in, let's say I want to buy 0.01. So I would own 0.01 of a single Bitcoin. That cost would be $396 at the current price level. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin crashes down, then that value is going to go down, and then vice versa if it goes up. Now, let's say that Bitcoin rises in value. Let's say Bitcoin goes to $100,000. How much would that 0.01 be worth at that point? All right, so let's look here. We're at 39,000 currently. The price of Bitcoin is going to go to 300,000, like predicted by some big institutional and funds and things like that. If we look at the percentage return, it's 669% return from the current level. So from the current level of $39,000, if Bitcoin does rise to $300,000, that would be a 669% return. So if you have $396 and you increase it by 669%, how much money would you have at that point? You would then have $3,000. So you would invest, we'll just say $400 to make it easier. You would then have $3,000 if Bitcoin does get to a $300,000 level in the future, which, like I said, has been forecasted by some. So you can see there's still potential even when owning just a small amount of Bitcoin. You do not need to own an entire Bitcoin to reap the benefits of the price moving higher. Here's a quick tip for anyone out there who's wondering when you should buy Bitcoin. I like to buy Bitcoin personally when it's crashing. I want to buy it on a discount. I want to pay the least amount of US dollars per Bitcoin that I can buy. So if you are thinking about buying Bitcoin, don't buy it when it's going straight to the moon. Buy it when it's crashing down and everyone believes that it's going to zero. that's when I want to be a buyer. Just like I bought back there in March of 2020, everyone thought that Bitcoin was finally going to zero, and it crashed 50% in one day. So if you want to be a Bitcoin investor, buy the dips, sell the rips, or just hold on to forever. But in general, I would really suggest, if you are going to be a long-term investor, please buy the dips. Buy the red days, not the days when it's up 10, 20% in one day. If we bought $3,960, being 0.1 of a Bitcoin, that $4,000 would increase to $30,452. So what you can see here is, even with a small amount of Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does go to the levels that are forecasted by some of these massive institutions, it's okay to own less than one Bitcoin. So one of my friends recently said that there's no point in buying Bitcoin unless you can buy an entire Bitcoin. And as you can see from just doing simple math, investing $4,000, getting a 600% return is still going to be a very good investment long term if you're able to do that. Again, you can buy, only $100 worth of Bitcoin. And I would suggest to most people, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, really the best thing to do if you want to buy it and you want to hold it long term is to buy just a little bit every single month. Because what that's going to allow you to do is be able to dollar cost average. So if you buy $100 here at the $42,000 area, and then it crashes down there to $30,000, and you buy $100 worth next month, and then you buy another $100 worth that following month, you're going to have a much better price action than if you went and you just bought $300 at the $42,000 area. So really it comes down to having a discipline, having a plan, having a investment plan. And that really comes down to, not just Bitcoin, but investing in general. And as you can see in the past, month, less than a month, Bitcoin breaking through 20,000, rallying up there to the $42,000 area, currently sitting right here, right now, at the $39,800,000. So literally in the last 2 seconds, Bitcoin price has went from $39,600 to $39,800. So there's volatility and there's action going on right now in the market. If we go way back, back to 2016, the price of Bitcoin was $350. So if you would have bought, 0.10 of Bitcoin back then for $35, that $35 would now turn into $3,960. So you can see the idea here. A small amount of Bitcoin can turn into a large amount of money in the future. So if Bitcoin continues to go higher from here and goes to that $300,000 level, and you buy, $300 worth today, that $300 would turn into $3,000, $4,000 in the future. So you really have to weigh your options and look like, instead of going out and buying new Yeezys or going out and spending money on, something stupid, maybe it would be a better idea to buy a little bit of Bitcoin as an investment long term. Now, I by no means am telling you that you should go out and, sell your house and sell your cars and sell everything to buy more Bitcoin, but I really think that everyone should have a little bit of exposure, just a little tiny bit, because if Bitcoin does have a meteoric rise and go, to $1 million in the future, at least you'll have some type of exposure to that. And I think, buying $100 worth as an investment long-term is definitely not a bad idea if you don't have a lot of money. You're not looking to put a bunch of money into Bitcoin. That's totally fine. I understand that everyone's risk tolerance is different, but at the end of the day, you can still make a lot of money with just a little bit of Bitcoin. And that's really what I'm trying to portray here or get across, because a lot of people are confused. They think that they need to spend a lot of money to make money with Bitcoin, but you can buy just a little tiny bit of Bitcoin and that could turn into a very large amount of money in the future. Like I said, if you could go back to 2016 and buy $35 worth, would you do it? Would you do it? You probably would. You would go back in time and probably spend more than $35 worth. But in general, if you had the opportunity in 2016 to buy just $35 worth, you would now have $4,000 worth of Bitcoin. So don't pass up this opportunity if you have it. If you have an opportunity to buy a little bit of Bitcoin today in 2020, well, you probably should do it. You should check it out. Again, I'm not saying you should go out and buy today or tomorrow or anything like that. I think Bitcoin will go lower in price at some point here. I would love to see, $10,000 area again to get retested and make a move higher from there if you look on the daily chart. So if I'm just going to draw lines here, looking at the recent areas of support, where that support, where that resistance was, and where I want to be buying, where I want to be selling, things like that. If I just look at this, very simple, it's not rocket science. Again, this $20,000 area obviously was previous resistance turning into support. This $30,000 area being an area of support, and then, really $25,000 as well. So really in this area is going to be a much better buy than buying up here at the top right now, but that could, play into other people's favors as well, because Bitcoin could always just keep going higher from here. It's, it's very possible, but we're always looking for opportunities. Like I said, I like to buy Bitcoin when it's crashing down. I like to buy Bitcoin when it's red in the day. I don't want to just go out and pay a premium if I can buy at a discount, especially if I'm looking to hold long term. What's the rush? I don't need to go out and buy a ton. But obviously, everybody who is sitting there waiting for it to pull back from the $20,000 area, well, they're still waiting. But I'm saying there's going to be a pullback to come at some point here. But Bitcoin could go higher first. It'll, we'll see what plays out. But this video isn't about, where I think the price of Bitcoin is going, but it's about this idea that you need a lot of money to buy a Bitcoin. You do not need a lot of money to buy a Bitcoin. You can do it with just a little bit of Bitcoin. So there it is. You just need a little bit of money to buy Bitcoin. You don't need to go out and buy an entire Bitcoin. And should you buy Bitcoin? Again, this is not financial advice by any means. I'm not telling you that you should go out and, buy tons and tons of Bitcoin, but I would definitely look into it. If you have no exposure to Bitcoin, there are multiple ways to do that. Multiple brokers now offer Bitcoin. I think Robinhood, I think pretty much, Coinbase, all these brokers will allow you to buy Bitcoin. So if you're not doing it, you should definitely take a look at it. Definitely take a look. I would have taken a better look back when it was, under $5,000 back there in March when I was buying. But hey, sometimes, people are just a little bit late to the party. And I think this party is just begun. I think it's just begun. We'll see what happens. This is what's going on with Bitcoin right now. And that's my spiel for everyone out there who's wondering, should they buy Bitcoin even if they don't have a lot of money? Well, I'd say you should probably do it. You should probably take a little investment here at some point. Take a look at it. There it is, Bitcoin. If you guys haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I will talk to you guys later on.